And good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. And look, see, it's Christmas. It's Christmas. It is our Christmas edition of The Spirit World Sees All. Here we are. What about that tree? I'll just move slightly so you can see it. Isn't that a pretty tree, everybody? We've actually got two trees because the reflection is in the mirror, so it looks quite cool actually that it looks like we've got lots of Christmas trees. Anyway, so before we begin, first of all, if I can mention, we have Gregor standing to my right side. We've got Chris as the facilitator in wherever she's in, and I think she's in warm and sunny Florida. I'm actually wearing a sweatshirt. It's actually warm today here, all things considered, but it's chilly. When I drove in from the airport, there was snow on the ground everywhere, which was not great for me. I had my fill of snow when I was in beautiful, wonderful Vermont, but I'm done with snow. All right, and so welcome to all of you who are joining us, Chris. Let me just ask that important question. Is there anybody there?
Yeah, people are logging on right now. Rhonda was first in saying good morning on this lovely day.
Good morning, Rhonda.
And Gary says, good morning, Rosemary and all. Christmas is a week away. Before you open any of Santa's gifts,
Uh-oh,
don't forget to sing happy birthday.
L. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. I'd like to talk a little bit about that, and I'm glad that Gary's reminded me. Because, Christmas has become so commercialized. It's all about the gifts. It's all about the tree. It's all about making things look pretty. It's all about, spending money. Even when you don't have money to spend, people spend money because they don't want their kids to go without. They don't want their kids to, to miss out on some kind of Christmas. And I really feel that there has been over the last several years, probably for a long time now, I think there's been a tendency for us to forget the actual reason we celebrate Christmas, which of course is the birth of Christ. I know that there are lots of people of many religions who love the idea of Christmas. They love the idea of the trees, the baubles, the lights, all of that, and they love the idea of gifts as well. And of course, naturally, um, here we go, because I keep telling people this isn't a cooking show, but it is really all about the food as well. But there are so many people who are a Christian who would love to celebrate Christmas, but they have very little money. They struggle to give their kids what all the other kids in school have, the best of everything and so on. And it seems almost as if we've really forgotten the value of the birthday of Christ. It's almost as if we've forgotten the value of what Christmas actually should mean to us. Um, you know, uh, I had a friend many years ago, and it's a wonderful idea. I had a friend many years ago who literally said to his kids, "This Christmas, there are no gifts for you. What we would normally have spent our money on buying gifts for you, you're going to help us spend that money on buying gifts for those less fortunate, for those who maybe can't afford a Christmas goose or a Christmas turkey, maybe those who definitely can't afford a nice big fancy Christmas tree and so on." And of course the kids were very upset because it meant that Christmas was, uh, turned on its head as far as they were concerned. But he did this as an experiment. but he also did it to try to show his children that, gifts are not about just receiving, gifts are about giving too. And he tried to show them, the value of giving, especially to people who did not have the money or could not afford to buy the gifts that for their kids or for their family that they would like to. And afterwards, he was thrilled to report back to me to say that his kids had probably one of the best Christmases because they got to see people's faces, people who lived in old folks' homes and had no money to spare, people who didn't have family, who were living on their own and didn't even expect a Christmas gift, people who are homeless on the streets, who, just a cup of coffee is a gift to them. So there are lots of different ways that we can give and give for Christmas. And I think that I'm pretty certain that Christ would approve of the giving of gifts under those circumstances, rather than us on the receiving end of those gifts. So I think there is, a happy medium, as a happy way to go. I'm not suggesting you shouldn't buy your kids gifts for Christmas. What I'm saying is, I think we need to start teaching our children and also teaching ourselves the value of the gifts that we give, who we give those gifts to, and what should Christmas mean to us. Kids wake up in the morning and Santa's come. It's almost like Santa Claus is, a bigger and brighter and much more positive image than the one whose birthday it is. So maybe we can talk about that. Maybe people have some ideas. Maybe people have done things uh, in Christ's name for others. They're shy maybe about talking about it. There are a lot of people who do things quietly. Being my group, we always used to take a family. We didn't boast about it. We didn't brag about it. We didn't advertise the fact that this is what we were doing. We always took a family. The last time we did it, we took 3 little girls, and I had the joy and the happiness of shopping. We always would buy the mother something small, maybe a nice scarf, or and we'd always buy something for the family, a nice big tin of cookies or something that they could enjoy, things that perhaps they wouldn't think to get for themselves. But we always took a family, and we relied on social services people who in that field of work to tell us which families they might suggest, or which family they felt needed our help the most, and then we would make it a very special Christmas for them. As I've said, we didn't advertise the fact, we just quietly went about doing it. And it was wonderful. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. Okay, Chris, I'm hoping that most of the people who are in have signed in right now. And yes, I'm going to ask you again, is there anybody there? And are there any questions or comments going on?
Well, Dean left a comment saying, still in awe at the Gray Eagle Speaks Day. It was truly inspiring.
Oh, thank you, Dean. It wasn't it though. It was wow. It was wow. Is wow. You can't. Well, I'm sure there are lots of other words to describe it, but thank you for mentioning that, because I know that a lot of people would have liked to have been there, would have liked to have joined, but for one reason or another, they couldn't manage it, they couldn't make it. We are trying to figure out a way to get the video out, so give us 2 or 3 weeks for that. But we're trying to get a way to get the video out. So if people didn't make it or couldn't manage to be there, the video will be available for them at a charge. It won't be a huge charge, but those of you who were there and who participated and had their ticket, we're going to when we can figure it out, we're going to send you the video. So Dean, you can be in awe again and again and again if you watch it as many times as you like. Okay, Chris.
Shamanth says 3 days from now, the 21st of December, marks the 5th death anniversary of my brother-in-law, Nagesh, who passed away due to cardiac arrest at the age of 20.
Wow, goodness, that's so sad. I've heard of that before. Unfortunately, far too many times, our young people leave us, and we're left thinking of all the things they would have done, or could have done, or should have been able to do. But again, I'm going to reiterate, Shamanth, that I hope I'm saying that right. That I'm sure that he is in a good place. We cannot go before our time anyway. So I'm sure it was his time, and I'm sure he probably made that decision for himself prior to even being on this earth plane, the decision to come here, to have this earth experience, to, to enjoy and to learn and to grow through this experience. Excuse me, and then to move on. Chris.
Shamanth continued, saying, "You might remember last month I had informed you that my wife and I are expecting our first child. You had asked me to keep you updated about it.
Yes, please.
So I'm happy to tell you she's doing fine, and we are just 3 months away from holding our child in our arms. Keep blessing us."
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Do we know? Do we care what the gender of this little one is? Maybe we don't care. Maybe we just want to wait and see. But please keep me posted, darling. Please.
Andrea says, "My son, 12, still believes in Santa. We were hoping that he'll figure it out by himself, but I guess we should tell him now if he still doesn't."
What? What? Oh no! Oh no! Don't, please, no. My grandson is 12 years old, and this year, because we know they know kids at school tell them there's no such thing, etc. They know whatever these things, but they're not necessarily holding on to the idea of Santa. They're holding on to the magic. And why would you want to say anything about that? Leave him be. Let him be. That's what we're doing with Reese. I did say to Reese this year, I said a few weeks ago, I said, Reese, I need to ask you a question. Is Santa coming this Christmas? Thinking I would give him an out, if he wanted to say anything to me. And he thought about it for a minute, and then he looked at me and he said, well, why wouldn't he? My grandson is 13 in February. I'm going to let him have the magic for as long as he wants the magic. That's it. I'm not going to. I remember, okay, I'm going to give you this. It's one of the worst. You're going to think it's a ridiculous thing. When I tell you it's one of the worst memories, you'll think, well, that was nothing really compared to other things, that I've shared, that we've gone through. But as a child and living in a house with very little magic, living in a house where parents really disliked, in fact, I would use the word despised each other, living with a mother who definitely despised me. I reminded her far too much of her own mother, and she was cruel and she was mean. She was cruel and she was mean, often emotionally saying hurtful things or doing hurtful things, but she was also cruel and mean in a way, physically, good slap to the head whenever you needed it. My father was, well, let me just put it this way. There was some beatings and very strict discipline in my house. I was 11, I was 11 years old. I was in my senior class in England. It's a very different system in schools than it is here in the States. But so I was 11 years old, and I was sort of approaching, 12. It was our last year at this school, which we called a junior school. It was Christmas, so I was well into 11 because my birthday's in May. So I was well into 11 years old. And I remember the teacher, mean, horrible person that she was. I remember her saying to the entire class, "So, hands up, anybody here who still believes in Father Christmas?" And my hand shot up. Of course it did. Of course it did. Because what she's really asking is, do I believe in magic? And I still do, by the way. So my hand went up like this. It shot up without a thought, without a moment's thought, until I looked around at all of the other kids in the class, and mine was the only hand that was up. And I was forced then to put it down. In other words, I was forced out of my magical belief that, someone loved me, someone cared about me, someone brought something for Christmas, whatever. I remember when I was carrying my daughter and I was on full bed rest, and my mother-in-law said to me, "Don't think that I'm going to be encouraging this Father Christmas stuff. We don't believe in it in this house, and I've never told my kids that there's a Santa Claus, and I'm never going to. And so, don't expect that we're going to be buying into this." And I remember looking at her, and I was sort of a fairly timid person at the time, but it was so horrifying to me. And I looked at her and I said, "The first time you tell my child that there's no Santa Claus will be the last time you see her." So you can see how strongly I feel about Christmas. We celebrate it. Yes, fine. He'll be 12 in February. We know the kids at school are talking about, well, it's not really Santa, it's my mum. We know all of that. And he's in his way knows that we know that, but we play along. And we have magic in our house because we play along. I'd love to hear other people's opinions, but when you're saying you're going to, oh no, please don't do that. Don't take the magic away. Wait for him. He's only 12. Goodness, he's got a lot of childhood left. My view is allow him to believe whatever he wants to believe, to bring the magic into his life, encourage it, enjoy it with him, play along. What on earth does it hurt? And what is it going to gain you if you tell him? I mean, anyway, that's it. I'm done. I'd like to hear comments and questions from other people, because I'm sure that there are a lot of people who disagree with me. So, Chris.
Dean says my youngest daughter was my Christmas present 30 years ago on Christmas Day. I
Wow.
delivered her in the bedroom she still uses today and took her in the next room for the other kids to see.
Lovely. I love that. What a great gift. Keep going, Chris.
Rhonda says I will always remember the young man talking about you eating the last 2 pieces of shortbread. LOL.
Yes, well, all right. Here's the thing. I know that very often, especially if I'm giving consultations, for instance, and let's say I've got some people coming the next day, they're going to have a consultation. And I will often see them coming in, visiting or taking a peek, taking a look at me, because they don't know me. I'm a total stranger to them. So I'm used to people in the spirit world popping in and out to take a look to see, do they like me? What should they know about me? But I'm also used to, and I've told stories about this many times, about a young girl she was actually knocked. She was on her bike and a car came and hit her, and I I'd given up my day off this particular day to see this couple, and I knew nothing about them because they wouldn't tell me anything about them. When I said, "Can I have your name, please?" when I was booking them in, he said, "Just say it's John, and that's it. That's all. Okay." Uh, can I have a phone number in case I need to cancel? No. So it's like, okay then. But as and I was racing that morning, rushing around, searching under the bed, looking for a shoe actually, and finally found it and sort of came racing out. And I knew I was late, came out of the bedroom door, got to the top of the stairs, and wow. And I just, you know, saw this beautiful girl standing there at the top of the stairs. She smiled at me and she waved, and I said, "Hello." I said, "You must be the reason that I'm working on my day off." And she laughed and she said, "Yes." And she ran down the stairs in front of me. By the time I got there after her, she was standing between her parents, and I knew exactly why we were there. So it's not unusual for people to come and peek at me. Certainly didn't expect to be outed on my shortbread, because what none of you know, and I am going to come clean now about the shortbread. What not what what none of you know, but obviously this lovely young man did, was that there were two pieces of shortbread left, and I had people over from time to time, people coming in, and I had thought in my head, maybe I should offer them a piece of shortbread. And then I'd no. And then maybe I should offer her a piece of no. And then one of my close friends came over, and I should really offer a piece of no, I'm going to, because I kept looking at those two pieces. They were only small pieces, but I kept looking at those two pieces thinking, they're for me. So you see, I'd been very selfish with that shortbread. So what he was saying was, I know that you kept it for yourself. So he outed me. Not that you all would know listening, but I thought about it afterwards. And I thought, oh, I should have shared that shortbread. What kind of a spiritual person hogs the shortbread and doesn't share it with anybody else? And that would be me. Anyway, it was great. It was a great message. Okay, keep going, Chris.
Leslie says, "Thank you for allowing my mother to come through during Gray Eagle Speaks. It was so magical." This is
I have to stop you. Thank you for thanking me, but you're thanking the wrong person. I allowed nothing. The only thing that I allowed in the whole thing, the only thing that I allowed was let's say the use of my physical body. My grandson wants to know all about trance. What does it mean and how does it work and so on. He's been sick the last couple of days, but we are going to have that conversation because he really, really, really wants to know. He's really fascinated about how it all works and so on. So he and I are going to have a very long conversation about that, and I'm sure he's going to have lots of questions. But basically, at the beginning or even before we start, I've already I've already said yes to anybody, to Grey Eagle, and Grey Eagle then decides. So if you're going to thank anybody, and thank you for thanking me, by the way, and it was my joy to do it. But it's Grey Eagle who decides who comes in. And I don't know if you realized what was happening at the time, but and I've done this many, many, many times over the years, but never actually publicly. Publicly, Grey Eagle has, in a trance state, has used my body. Jesus has used my body publicly, though the people who in the spirit world, let's say the general public of the spirit world, um, in public, we don't usually, that usually doesn't happen. But this time it did, because Grey Eagle allowed those people to use my body and my voice box to give the message that they wanted to give. And so that was an unusual thing for us to do publicly. Been doing it for many, many years, but public. So maybe it'll happen more and more often. I don't know. I don't know, because I never know. And I don't have, I can't say when it's happening. I can't say to Grey Eagle, stop. No, I don't want to do that bit. Because, once you're out, once you're in trance, that's it. In my case, I trust my spirit guide. He's going to use these opportunities wisely, which I feel he did. And so whatever he chooses to do is what happens. So I'm sorry I cut right through all of that. Please don't thank me for that. That was my only choice was, all right, then off you go, do what you want. That was my choice. The rest of it, that was all down to uh, a much higher power. So, Chris, I'm sorry. So go ahead. Carrie, do you want to start again from the beginning?
No, we had pretty much got to the end of what you had to say.
Oh, well,
She had to say.
Well, I didn't hear the end. So if you could just reiterate what
Said,
she
thank
said.
you for allowing my mother to come through during Grey Eagle Speaks. It was so magical. Leslie from Apache Country.
Oh, I didn't know you were from Apache country. All right. Well, it was definitely a thrill for all of us. Definitely a thrill. Chris.
Christian says, I'm referring to the event Grey Eagle Speaks.
There you are. Hello.
I was amazed to hear Jesus and Grey Eagle thanking us for joining. We are the ones who should be grateful to them both, and to you, Rosemary, for the wise insight.
Again, those wise insights aren't mine, but thank you for thinking I'm that wise. But those wise insights that happened on Saturday came from a much higher source, and much higher power than me. But yes, it's amazing, isn't it, that I've heard Greg will say this before. I've heard Jesus say this before. I've heard many people in the spirit world saying thank you to their loved ones who have perhaps booked a consultation with me, or have come to an event where they get an opportunity to, to through me to speak to their families. The deal is that, well, there's a one school of thought which is that you know let the dead rest in peace, right? Well, I think about myself, and certainly when I'm over there, I'm not going to be resting in peace. Why would I want to do that? I want to explore, I want to discover things, but I also want to be still in touch with my family and with my friends. I want to be involved in what's going on in life, but I can only do that, and those in the spirit world, they can only do that if we give them a chance. We have to open the door for them. And one of the ways that we will open the door for them so that they can come through and finally, sort of be able to express themselves. One of the ways is that we can book a consultation with someone like me, and we open the door. So we therefore what we're doing is we're opening the door and we're allowing them to come through, which is why they are so grateful to us for allowing that. Because if you think about it, those in the spirit world are very, very, very keen to talk to us. They want to be involved with us. They want us to know that they're around. They want us to understand that they're guiding us or trying to help us in some way or another. They want us to know that they still know what's going on with their families. But if we don't open the door for them, and there are different ways of opening the door, but if we don't open the door for them and give them the opportunity, they can't do it. So I can see why they would thank us, and I could see why Grey Eagle and Jesus Christ would thank us, because by opening the door, by you joining, you're giving them the opportunity to connect and to inspire and to give hope. So yes, it is. It's odd, isn't it? You would think it was the other way around, but I do get what they're saying. Chris.
Mary Angela says, I'm watching you from Italy. Sorry for my English.
Okay, you're breaking up a little bit. We've got someone watching from Italy, right, Chris?
Yes, Mary Angela.
Okay, hello. What can we?
I didn't have a question that went with that.
Okay, well, thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And you probably don't understand what I'm saying, so let's do Google Translate. I think most people can understand that. You can always go to Google Translate, and it's amazing. You put in a question in your own language and it translates it and sends it into the chat room for you. So you can always do that. Sorry, Chris, I have a tickle.
Andrea says, thank you for your answer. We'll keep the magic.
Thank you. Oh, yes. Good, good, good. Yes. I hate it. I don't want to influence you, but anyway, I just, I just think it's so important for us and for our children. And that means even our 15, 16, and 20-year-olds, or even if they're 50, it's up to us as parents to bring them a little magic, don't you think? So I think it's important to hold on to the magic.
Aaliyah says, hello, Rosemary. I truly hope you are well. Do you do readings for people?
I do consultations. I do consultations for people. And you can book if you want to know more about it. You just go to my email, rosemary@rosemaryalaltea.com, and you put in your subject line, a consultation. If you want to call it a reading, it's fine. People do that all the time, but I don't actually read people. I actually have conversations with the spirit world. So it's a kind of I'm just being picky. I'm being picky. But yes, I do consultations, and if you want to know more about it, you can email the office and excuse me, find out more about it, and certainly book an appointment. Yes.
Joan says, I don't really remember when I found out about Santa. I think it was just a process of everything you mentioned. But then I have 5 other siblings. Knowing them, they told me he wasn't real.
Yes. Well, I'm sure my sisters did the same to me, but you still, look. I've always been a weird kid. I've always, people often think I'm in my own head or in my own world, but I'm actually not. I'm not in my own head or in my own world. But I am in a different world very often than the one that we experience here on this earth. But I've always, um, since I can remember, I've always believed in magic. And when I think back about it with my childhood, and I'm sure there are many other people who could say the same thing, and many people who live in different countries, and many people who live in war-torn countries, or countries where, it's not so easy to live and people starve on the streets and so on. But I've always had this innate sense of magic, something that is special, that is part of us, but also beyond us too. And I still at my very old age of 122, I still believe in magic and I still hold on to the magic because I think that the magic is the love that we show or the love that is given to us. I think when my grandson looks me in the eyes and gives me that mischievous smile, that's such a magical moment for me. With my daughter, who's much older, every now and again she will say something, and often she doesn't even realize what she said, or she'll do something, or she'll, just whatever. That is so magical to me, and I like to hold on to those magical things, magical moments, but I also like to create those magical moments for other people too. I had friends over to visit. That's why I made the shortbread. And I had this little boy. He was not quite 6 years old. His mummy told me, and of course I bought him some little gifts. And as he walked in the door and I'm saying hello to him, I start to tell him that I heard this huge bang on the roof and I didn't know what it was, but I was in bed and I was too tired to get out of bed. And then it was there, I heard it again, and another banging on the roof, and I didn't know what was going on. And then I heard somebody call out, "Ho, ho, ho, Merry Christmas." I said, I got up the next morning and there are these little parcels on the table all wrapped up. And I know they're not for me because, they're only for children. Oliver, do you think he might have sent them for you? That kid's eyes opened wide. He knew they were from Santa, and that was the end of that. Magic. You've got to bring it in, and you've got to try create it, because not only are you bringing magic in for that child, you're bringing magic in for yourself, because when you see the smiles on their faces, or the light, their eyes literally light up when you bring magic, especially when you bring magic to children. Chris.
Lola says, greetings from Michigan. Is there anyone out there wanting to contact me from the other side?
I'm sure there are lots and lots of people who want to contact you. And again, I'm going to suggest you need to open the door and find out how to open the door to allow them in. So you can do that in various ways, which we're going to be talking about. And when we're talking about our, whatever that is, subscription program. Chris can never remember what to call it. When we start with our subscription program, we're going to be talking about the different ways of how we can literally open the door ourselves, or how we can make ourselves more aware, more sensitive, more in tune, and so on and so forth. But I just would like to, because we haven't had any comments yet on how we first began the show this morning, because I'm very excited for Christmas. I'm excited for Christmas for a variety of reasons. I would love to know the reasons that you're all excited or not for Christmas. So here are a few of my reasons why I'm excited for Christmas. First of all, I'm excited for Christmas because I get to cook my amazing duck breasts, nice and crispy, with my uh, very, very not quite famous, but famous to me and to my family, my orange sauce. So we're going to have duck à l'orange for Christmas Day. And so I'm excited for that. I'm excited for when the duck comes, because I'm always excited when that's delivered. I'm excited for Reese because of the magic of Christmas, and we're going to always retain that magic even when Santa's out of the house, so to speak. We will retain that magic. But I'm also excited because, Christmas Day is a very, very special day. And yes, Santa came, we know all of that, and Santa's been and all that for not all of us, but for some of us. But the most important thing on Christmas Day for me is to wish our Lord Jesus Christ a happy birthday, because that's how Christmas began. Christmas began with the birth of Christ. And yes, I get to see him. And yes, he gets to visit with me from time to time. And yes, we had that amazing experience last Saturday. Yes, it's amazing, but still, I'd like to just, if I went all of my birthday day without anyone saying happy birthday to me, I think I would be quite sad. I would think, oh, maybe nobody loves me anymore, or whatever. So I am determined that the first thing that I do say on Christmas morning is happy birthday to my beloved Jesus Christ, and to wish him all of the joy and all of the gifts that he would want. And I know that the gifts that he would want have nothing to do with money. They have nothing to do with power. They have nothing to do with being impressed by things. The gifts that he is looking for are the gifts from us, which are love and kindness and gentleness, because every time we give that to whoever it is we give it to, we give it to also to him. So that's Christmas for me. So what is Christmas for all of you?
Karen says, Merry Christmas to you. When I was 12, I asked my mom if we could do something for others for Christmas. And we ended up taking a part of an orphanage out to lunch to a pizza place arcade. And we brought them all presents. And it was one of the best Christmases I can remember as a kid. It felt so good to get back. And then when I was older, my sister-in-law and I would adopt families, and then we would take the toys and everything to the place, and they would distribute it to the families for Christmas.
That sounds like, you see, that sounds as if, to me, you really, really do understand and know the meaning of Christmas, that is wonderful. And to be thinking of that at age 12, that's something that my grandson would probably want to do, because, you're obviously very sensitive and very aware of other people who don't have the same opportunities, that don't have the same, abilities to provide even a decent meal. And I'm with you. I've every year I've always supported, found a family to support. If I could do it on a larger scale, wouldn't that be amazing? But I always, I'm going to say something now that they're probably going to sound a little bit, I don't mean, I don't mean this, I don't mean for what I'm going to say to be mean. However, okay, there are a lot of orphanages, and I was in an orphanage. I was in an orphanage twice when I was a kid. So, and I had a birthday one year, and I know that the gift that I still have that gift. It's the ugliest rag doll you ever saw. Um, when I get back home, I'm going to bring it out and show it to you all. She's lovely. Her name is Daisy, and she was all wrapped up, and obviously she was some secondhand something that somebody had given to the orphanage. But anyway, to get back to my thinking here, I know that there are many places, children's homes, orphanages, churches do it a lot, so on and so forth. And I think it's absolutely wonderful that people will, buy a gift and take it, and they go to the Christmas service or whatever it is they do, and they have their parcel and they put it under the tree and it's added to all the other parcels. But I always, because, and I don't mean this to be mean, I think it's wonderful if you can take a parcel, but maybe you could maybe take two or three, because there's a lot of kids there that need our help. And if you can't afford to, to buy stuff, there are lots of ways we can make things. Or we have a neighbor who can make us something, or we can go around the neighborhood ourselves and ask our neighbors, we're going to this place or that place. Do you think you could haul something out that your kids don't play with anymore? And I think it's really important that we do that. I did that with Reese during the summertime. We sorted out all of his toys, all of his old toys, his jigsaw puzzles, his books, his lots of different, his Legos and planes, lots and lots of planes and trains. And he was great. Um, he There were some things he really, really wanted to keep, but even the things that he wanted to keep, occasionally he'd say, I think I'd like to keep that one, Mosey. And I'd say, okay, well, you keep that one. And then he'd come back and he'd say, no, no, I'm happy for some other kid to have it. It's okay. And, of course, we want to give the old toys away. My daughter's busy giving clothes away today. Uh, that Greece has outgrown, and some of them are beautiful, but she's passing them up and she's going to give them away. But those clothes are like new, and the toys that we give away, that Reese gives away, are like new. So please, when you're giving, don't give the plane that's only got, two wheels when it should have three. Don't do that. Or give it, but just make sure that what you're giving is something that maybe your kids might like to receive. Just saying. And you don't have to listen to anything I'm saying. You don't have to do whatever I say to do. Your choice. Chris.
Rhonda says at 65, I still feel the magic in my soul when I put up all my lights and turn them on.
I
I feel
know,
like
it's
a little
lovely.
kid again.
I know. I walked in, when did I get here? I walked in on Tuesday evening from the airport. And the tree was already up and the lights were already up. And I do miss decorating the tree, but I do understand why Samantha wants it done. And my job is, when we take the tree down, my job is to wrap everything back up and put it all back where it belongs, because I'm the packer, I'm the organizer, I'm the person who does out the cupboards and the drawers and that sort of thing. So I'm sort of a little bit fanatical about those things. So I get to wrap them, and I get to look at all of the ornaments that we've had up. And but as far as decorating, I don't do that anymore, because because maybe I'm just too old and miserable. Bit crotchety. No, not really. No, I just don't do it because I don't want to go back to an empty house. Well, it's not empty, actually. There are friends there, so they do whatever they want to do in the house, and they can decorate it however they like, and they can make food whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. So anyway, my stuff is in the kitchen, so that's what I'm doing. Chris.
Rhonda said, I'm excited for Christmas, my first Christmas being retired, and I'm able to have time to make Christmas wreaths for all of my neighbors.
Oh, nice.
And I'm doing Christmas dinner for all of my beautiful family. And number one is taking the magic of the birth of Jesus Christ.
I love it. 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 I wish I could come. I bet if I lived closer, you'd invite me. I know you would. Chris, keep going.
Joan says, Christmas means to me, I like the church services to recognize Jesus. It really
Yes.
reaches my soul.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. Jesus needs a happy birthday. He wants the gift of love.
Yes. Yes. Well, he gives it all the time, doesn't he? So we should give it back, don't you think? Or we should give it to each other, because he's happy with that too. Keep going, Chris.
Mark says, so sorry I missed you all. Merry Christmas in New York for Christmas to you all.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward. I have to tell you, I'm wearing a sort of thickish sweatshirt um, this morning, and tonight, my grandson, even though he is really not well, and uh, anyway, it is what it is. It's Christmas and it's winter time, so we all get coughs and colds and things. But he is actually performing with his school orchestra, Baruch School, in New York City, and he is the lead pianist. I think he might be the only pianist, which is why it's the lead pianist. But anyway, he has, I think, he's playing with the orchestra, and he's sort of, it's really, uh, good practice for him to play with the orchestra. He did say to me, though, he said, Mosey, I don't think you're going to like the concert this year. And I said, why is that? He said, because they're playing The Entertainer. Well, The Entertainer by Scott Joplin is one of my favorite pieces, and very, very hard to play. It was composed for piano, very hard to play, but hey, I used to play it all the time. I loved it, loved it, loved it. You can see my daughter's sort of waltzing behind me, all wrapped up in her winter clothes. There she goes again. Don't think there's a ghost in the house. That was my daughter. Anyway, yes, and so he said yes. He said, but and he sort of raised his eyes. He looked at me. He said, yes, but they've arranged it for the string section. And I said, they're playing The Entertainer in the string section. He said, I knew you wouldn't like it, Mosey. I said, you're right. It was composed for piano, should be composed by piano. Anyway, but my grandson is playing 3 solos. So we're off there tonight to have the Christmas concert, and um, it, it'll be a lot of, we hope it'll be a lot of fun. Some really good musicians, some really bad musicians, and they'll all mix together, and we'll just have a lot of Christmas fun tonight. Chris.
Christian had given a part 2 to his
Oh,
earlier
go.
question.
Yes.
So, let's see. We are the ones who should be grateful to them both, and to you, Rosemary, for the wise insight, advice, and for giving our loved ones the opportunity to speak directly. Gray Eagle said, thank you for allowing us into your homes, but the truth is that we are blessed to have you all in our homes.
Oh, Christian, thank you so much. I know that Greg, that means a lot to Greg. I'm absolutely certain it means a lot to everybody around. But it is really, honestly, it is our privilege to be able to bring you such joy and such. Here we go again with that, and such wow, right? And such wow. Keep going, Chris.
I don't have any more questions or comments, Rosemary, but did you want to talk about the timeline of the subscription program?
Yes. Okay. So I know that a lot of you have been expecting January to be the timeline, but because I was sick throughout the summer and we were not able to record because I don't know if you can remember, I lost my voice. Um, Gregor has always said March, and Chris and I have always been trying to push for why don't we listen is what I'm asking. Why do we not listen? So we are going to be taking subscriptions. We're going to be sending out all of the information to you soon. If you want to be a part of our subscription program, you need to email Rosemary at rosemaryaltea. Yeah, is that right? Yes. Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. That's right. I had to think for a minute. Um, I had a senior moment there. Did you notice that? I sort of went a little bit blank. But anyway, and just put in the subject line subscription. We are going to be having, okay, we're going, this is the format so far. However, it is very much up to Grey Eagle as to how he does this. And I'm just sort of following along because the subscription program is basically Rosemary and Grey Eagle speak. And what will be happening is that Grey Eagle will be talking to us. He'll be giving us his so much information and so much wisdom. He's going to be explaining lots of different things that nobody really has explained before. We're going to go a little bit more in depth with different explanations. For instance, I think it was mentioned on Saturday about soul clusters, and not many people know what they are or what that means. But we're going to be discussing the human race. We're going to be discussing the soul. We're going to be discussing in real detail, in real depth, how we can, how we can appreciate, develop, or acknowledge or understand. There's so many things about this topic. That, when I say this topic, I mean the topic of spirituality, that we don't know, we don't understand, or there are so many misconceptions. People think one thing, or somebody will tell you something else. I mean, I remember listening to a TV show years ago where the medium, very well-known medium, said, "Oh, well, spirits don't have bodies, they only have heads." And I'm looking at them thinking, and I'm listening and I'm thinking, what is he talking about? What? What? But anyway, so there are so we know, by my attitude, that's not true, right? So there are many misconceptions as to, not only the makeup of the soul and how it fits in with the body, the fact that we are all a soul cluster, an earth soul cluster. All of those of us who are souls on this earth are what are grouped together as a soul cluster. Gregor explains all of that to us. But we're also going to be talking about physical oh gosh, we're going to be talking about so many things. We're going to be talking about, physical phenomena and how that works. So we're going to be trying to explain all of that. We're going to be doing every month. We're going to have a 3 weeks of a video where we'll take a topic, and Gregor will talk to us about that topic. We'll explain that topic, and I will be there helping and explaining and listening and paying attention, so that we can give you the very best information, and so that there are no misconceptions or preconceptions or incorrect conceptions of what or how things can and do work. We're going to be talking about a whole range of topics connected to our spirituality, our energy. We're going to be talking about vibrational levels and how important they are, but we're going to be explaining how those things work. And so each month there'll be 3 videos that you'll get to listen to. At the end of those 3 videos, the 4th week of the month will be a Zoom where we all get together and you get an opportunity to ask questions. You get an opportunity to, if there's something that's been said that you want to know more about, you'll get an opportunity to ask for that. If there's something that's been said but you weren't quite sure of what that meant, we'll talk about that. So we're going to be having 3 videos and a live Zoom every month. And excuse me, and all of you who participate will get a chance to join in and to participate in the program. So it's going to be fascinating and interesting. What you need to remember, what you need to bear in mind, is that Grey Eagle is a highly evolved spiritual entity. In other words, he pretty much knows a lot. He would be the first one, he's smiling at me, he'd be the first one to tell you he doesn't know everything, but he knows a heck of a lot more than we all do. And the way that he explains and the way that he describes is going to be, I think, very interesting. And, it's going to be something that we can be really fascinated about. I've already been doing this, learned so much more than I already knew. Imagine that. And if I, if I am learning, there's definitely you all can learn too. So it's a very unusual program. So we're going to be just, subscribing in order to join. We've tried to make it as inexpensive so that as many people can join as want to. But of course, we have to pay for someone to, to sort of fix the videos, take out the pauses or the mistakes or whatever. We need to pay people to sort of get it all sorted out and put up, and we need to, we have to, I'd love to give it to you for free, but we can't, because then I'd be broke, and then where would we be? Nowhere at all, actually, would we? Anyway, so it is a subscription program once monthly. You can opt out any time you like. So if you find after 2 or 3 months the program is not for you, and you say, oh no, I can't, or I don't want to do this anymore, that's fine. You opt out. It's very simple. You opt out. It means that you cannot connect back in unless you resubscribe. You cannot, go in and out. But it does mean that the videos that you've had access to while you have subscribed, you will still have access to. I think that's how it works. But anyway, so we've actually never really done anything quite like this before. Grey Eagle is a highly evolved spiritual entity. So we will be talking about things much more in depth than perhaps we would, and certainly much more in depth than we have time for on these hour-long shows that we do. And so it's going to be, I think it's going to be fascinating. We're also, a part of the program is, I think I mentioned physical phenomena. What is physical phenomena? We can say, well, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Psychometry is one of those physical phenomena. When you see moving objects, is that real or not real? Can we do that? Dowsing is another physical phenomena. So there'll be lots of things for you to try out, lots of things for you to do. And we're going to be talking also, hopefully, about how that physical phenomena presents itself, and how and what is it anyway? What does it mean? How did that huge boulder get to get on the top of that obelisk, which is sitting on top of a mountain somewhere in Machu Picchu? Because there's no way any human or even any crane could get that up there. But yet it's there, and that's part of the physical phenomena that we're going to be talking about, energy and vibration, and how we can use it, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be a fascinating uh, a few months. We're planning on doing a 12-month course, and you can sign up if you want to. The first video will be going out, we hope. We have to wait we already have somebody editing and making sure that it's nice and clean and clear, so that you can, you know, uh, hear what's being said. We're also going to have I should say subtitles, or what, as I'm speaking, the words are coming up, so that if you don't speak particularly good English, it's up there on the screen for you, and you can figure it out from there. So, um, we are making the 1st of March our official, when it begins officially. I know there are some of you disappointed, thinking, well, January, but the truth is, in January, we've still got New Year's, we've still got things going on. People are still doing stuff with families. February is, uh, well, it's a very special birthday month for me, my grandson's birthday. But doing this gives us time to make sure the videos are nice, clean, clear, and what you should expect and what you can expect from us. So the 1st of March is our official. That's when the first video comes out. You need to get in touch with Chris if you're interested, because you know, it's nearly the end of February, so, you know, you've only got a couple of months here to get going, get started, and get everything organized, ready for those events. I think that's it. Do we have any other questions, Chris? Anybody have a question or a comment?
Rhonda's saying Merry Christmas, sending love to all. And that she's excited about the subscription program. So no, you're actually overtime.
All right. Well, this is what I'd like to say to all of you. And we talked about all the glitter and glitz, and I'll show you the Christmas tree again. Doesn't it look pretty? We hope that wherever you are, whatever faith you have, whatever you believe in, we hope, and when I say we, I mean Greg Eagle and I, we hope that whatever and wherever and whoever you are with in this coming holiday season, we hope that you have magic. We hope that magic is brought to you. Sometimes it'll be in a small way. Somebody might see you on the street, smile at you, or somebody might just wave to you, or somebody just might give you a kindness or show you a kindness, or you might see somebody else giving a kindness to someone other than you. But magic comes in many forms. So we're hoping that you have a very, very magical few weeks. And I will not be seeing you next week, because I'll be in the kitchen cooking I'd love to say the goose, but it's actually the duck. I'll be in the kitchen cooking the duck. And so we'll see you very soon. In the meantime, until I see you again, please, everybody, have a very, very blessed rest of today. Have a very blessed rest of the weekend. Have a very blessed holiday season, everybody. Remember, Gregel is saying, your world needs gentleness. So let's see how much gentleness we can produce to give to our world and to give to ourselves over the next few weeks.